Welcome everyone, Tone here, and today we're going to be checking out Loop Hero. I'm just going to let that title music sink in because I really love the music in this game, especially this track. And the entire aesthetic of this game, beyond just the music, is very cool. It's got this kind of pixel art thing, but like this really retro style going on. It reminds me of like games from like the 90s, or maybe like kind of like Warcraft 1 era stuff going on. But it also has like its own distinct style, and that really stands out in like the character portraits, which we'll see later. But just like the UI and stuff has this like kind of old school vibe going on, which is pretty cool for what the game is doing. So this game comes out this week actually, so we're checking out the demo, which is pretty much full gameplay up through like the first mission. Or the first like chapter, I believe is what they call them. So I just discovered this game a couple of weeks ago probably. The trailer looks awesome, it really stuck out to me. And then I had watched some people stream it. I probably watched about 30 minutes of streams, and to be completely blunt, the game didn't look interesting to me at all from the streams. And we'll get to why later, I guess, but the game kind of like, it looks like you idle a lot, because a lot of the stuff in the game is like automatic, and it kind of looked like you just make numbers bigger, and that's like all the gameplay there was. But I'm glad I checked it out. I spent a few hours on it, and it completely surprised me, and it was a pleasant surprise, and I enjoyed it a lot. And we will see why here soon. So Loop Hero is a non-traditional roguelike. It has procedural generation, so every playthrough of every chapter is different. I'm not sure yet, because the demo only had like the one chapter, if you're supposed to like repeat it after you play through the whole game, or if you're just supposed to like play individual missions. I don't know what like the late game and like the extended kind of looks like. It's kind of like a Darkest Dungeon thing, where you level up between missions, and then you go on expeditions. Actually, the game calls them expeditions, which is what I believe Darkest Dungeon uses. So we'll check out that in a moment. So on that note, it does have a meta progression system that we'll look into. But yeah, at its like very like core, on the simplest level, it kind of is like this make numbers bigger, like idle gameplay is what it has. But then they stack layers of complexity and interaction on top of it, and that's where the game gets interesting. And this is wild, so I'll put it out there. It's really part deck builder, board game, turret defense, and RPG in my eyes. And with all of those elements, there's just a lot to strategize and a lot of synergies to discover within there. And that's where the big fun comes for me. That's where the game gets really interesting. And so we're going to try and explore that and show that off with our gameplay in this playthrough today. Oh, and I think the strongest point of the game is its aesthetic and the narrative. And overall, it's just been very fun and challenging. And actually, I wonder if we should start a new game to show off the narrative. Nah, I don't want to do like a cutscene. You'll get to check that out. But basically the story is like your world is like destroyed, and you're just like in like a void or nothingness. And then how that's like characterized is it's your memories are coming back, and that's what's rebuilding the world, is like you remembering aspects of it. But then there's like more twists and turns in there. So here's like your base camp, and you get resources during your missions, and that lets you upgrade stuff here. So this is like the meta progression tool. So you can build things. Some of this is locked off in the demo, but I played the tutorial mission, and then, which is like pretty short, but you can continue afterwards. And then I played 2 missions after that. On my second expedition, I beat the chapter in the demo and finished the demo essentially. But you buy the campfire after like your first tutorial thing, and so this gives you 20% HP every time you finish a loop, and then you can like upgrade these. I guess I already upgraded that one. Or no, I think the 30% is actually coming from the food. Yeah, field kitchen. So this gives you 20% healing base, and then this gives you like 30%. And then like you build these things and they unlock cards, which we'll get to in a second. And then you can upgrade your buildings. So this gives you camp item slots. I don't know exactly how that comes into play yet. And then it also gives you 8% to the campfire healing power and shows you the resources you need. I'm missing whatever this is. That looks like a juicy steak or something. Which makes sense for the field kitchen. So that's one of these. Food supply. That is exactly what that is. A nice juicy steak. I bought the herbalist hut, so this lets us start with potions, and then it gives us potions on every loop, and then it unlocks the swamp card here. And I also bought the gymnasium. So this gives us the ability to gain special traits after killing monsters on expeditions, and that sounded interesting. I don't know how that's manifested. I think I bought this and the herbalist hut after my last playthrough. So we're gonna check these out. I'll unlock the village card. So you can like just build stuff, and you can upgrade stuff here. You can actually, this lets you dismantle the building, which I guess gives you more resources to like put elsewhere. So it's kind of the meta progression aspect in camp here. So we can go on an expedition. So the expedition has chapters. So I finished chapter 1, and I unlocked chapter 2 here, but it's not available in the demo. So the enemies have a number of abilities. They have a strength baseline, so they have negative 5% strength in chapter 1, but then it goes up to 0 in chapter 2. I guess this is the boss, because here's the Lich, which is the boss of chapter 1. And then enemy strength growth, plus 2% per loop. You're going to see what that's about in a second. And then you can have the max amount of a resource is 10, so I think that's how many you can carry out of the mission. If you want to, for your meta progression and stuff, is my guess. You get a class. So we get to play as the warrior, a class that doesn't have any particular benefit or disadvantages. Has the highest durability compared to other classes, and then plus 1.5% damage for each second of the fight. Which is interesting. I don't think I knew about that when I was playing the first time. I only discovered that after reading through here afterwards. And then it looks like each class has like a number of starting equipment, or maybe you can unlock these with the meta progression. I'm not sure. But right now we can only equip one weapon, a ring, a shield, and an armor. But it looks like there's like a helmet and gloves, gauntlets and boots, another ring, another amulet here. That I don't know if either other classes or we have to unlock those, but there's more options to go. It says class warrior too, so I don't know if you get to like pick different classes for each mission, or if eventually different chapters have different classes assigned to them. But there's class stats here. These are kind of what you can manipulate with items. So damage, damage to all, regen, vampirism, attack speed, counterattack percent, evade percent, and defense. So it'll be cool to see how different classes play with those numbers. I think it'll be very Slay the Spire-ish with the classes, where each one does like different things and has like completely different like play styles as far as like how they do damage and focus on things. So here's your deck. I actually always thought that looked like a printer when I first saw it, but now I see that it's a deck of cards. So you get to build a deck to take into your mission or your chapter that you're playing. I guess they call them the expedition. And these actually have different synergies, and you can disable them to only take certain amounts. So if you've played deck builders before, taking out cards you don't want means you see more of the cards you like. So you can really control things through this system. And some of these have more synergy than others. Some of them you might want more for gaining resources. Some of them probably play better with certain classes too. So there's different types of cards here, and then the number at the bottom is the minimum you can take, and the number at the top is the maximum you can take. And the same here, we can have a minimum of 7 cards total and 12 max. So I can't, for instance, actually I can turn on everything, can't I? But I can't turn off everything. So we have to take at least 2 of everything and then 1 thing down here. So let's put together a little deck for this mission. Cemetery spawns enemies every 3 days, or skeletons. The village gives you a quest, and it heals HP upon entering. That's cool. I just unlocked this one, so I want to check that out. The grove always seemed like a cool tile, so I'll take that. And that's how these get played as tiles, and that's where like the board game aspect comes into it, so you'll see that as well. The swamp is new here for me as well, so spawns a mosquito every 3 days. All healing effects are lethal here, which sounds crazy. All healing effects are lethal. You get like vampirism, which heals you in battle. So I don't know if that kills you. Oh, maybe they just do damage to you instead. That's crazy. I feel like I should leave that turned off. because we're probably going to want to use, we might want to use vampirism. That's like a normal stat for this trait, or this class. I'm gonna turn that off for now, just because I don't want to throw, if that's what it actually does. So I'll leave these turned on. The skeletons seem pretty cool for my runs. The spider cocoon spawns spiders on adjacent tiles. So these get placed on the map, these get placed off of it, and then these get placed like way off of it. So you'll see how that works as well. Vampire Mansion. This adds vampires to battles. That didn't feel necessary to me, because the way I've been playing, you don't want to fight like too many guys at once, because if you're just one character playing like 4 monsters, then you're going to like, you can only attack one while you're getting attacked by 3 more. It's better to fight like one-on-one. But the whole part of this game is that like you can control the difficulty, and then you're rewarded for playing harder battles. But we don't need to go through all of this, so let me just pick something so you can actually like see how this affects stuff. I want the treasury. Not really. Let's go with this. So yeah, we're actually have 11 out of 12 max cards we can use, so that means we can't actually turn everything on if we wanted to. This looks like it'll be a fun way to go. I'm gonna ignore the swamp. I want to check out the village for the first time. I like everything else here. That's our expedition. This is our deck. So let's embark. It's hard to explain a lot of that without seeing the actual map here. So here is the loop, and here's our hero. So that's the game right there, your loop hero. So yeah, here's the play field. So we always start out with is this wasteland tiles. So this says at the right here, 5% chance of spawning a slime once a day. So these slimes spawn. Here's our day meter, so this procs up. That's your day progress. So every time this fills up, we have a chance of spawning a slime on one of these tiles. And so that's what all the other things are based on. You saw like the graveyard spawn skeletons every 3 days. That's how that all works. And then a loop is every time we return here to our cozy camp. And this heals us when we get back here. We have 250 health. Experience points. Actually, I don't think I saw experience points before. I don't know how that works. And then we have equipment here we can equip. And then so you just wander around this track automatically. I have no control. I can't go backwards or forwards any faster. And then you bump into an enemy. Our day just progressed. We bump into an enemy. You see a slime here. It'll pause when I hover over it so you can inspect them. They have health, damage, attacks per second. And they have properties. So there's artificial and life and liquid. I haven't really seen anything that interacts with that stuff yet, but I'm sure stuff will later. And then this plays out automatically. So I can't control that. We got a card from that. So after this, we'll take a look at the card. So I can pause this to interact. It has free pausing, which in my opinion, games with free pause, which like the ones that come to mind are like Faster Than Light and Heat Signature are some very good games that have that. Those games, oh, Unexplored is another one, another very good game. Those play a lot like turn-based games because you can pause whenever you want to think out actions, which is pretty cool. But so we got cards from each of those fights. So we got the Chrono Crystals here. So this doubles the effect of a day's passing on adjacent tiles. So I can drop this down, and it's in that column where I could put it adjacent to the road, or to the loop, as I had mentioned before. And then it'll double the effect of the things that get put next to it. So I'm gonna... There are meadows that heal you every day. I kind of liked putting those next to this. But those get placed outside of this, like far away from the loop, 2 tiles plus away. So I'm gonna put this somewhere to maximize those tiles. So like here gives me 4 of those tiles. So I'm gonna like do that. Let's just drop that there. Then we have the mountain, plus 5 HP for each adjacent rock or mountain. So these go outside, so you can drop these. Now this is the boss meter. Or, well, it's map completion, but it spawns the boss once it fills up. Every time I play a new card and drop a new tile, this fills up a little bit. Once you do that, the boss spawns at your camp, and then you fight them when you go around. I did get XP here. Okay, so that must put levels up your loot. That's why this is, these are ones. I didn't notice that when I was playing before. So we got an axe and a mace. They both do 4 to 6 damage. The mace does damage to all in addition to that, so I'm gonna equip that. you can see your stats down here just kind of grow. So here's kind of like the numbers get bigger, part of it. And the stats on items you get just get bigger. So that guy dropped a grove for us. So a grove is in the category that can get dropped on the loot. So the grove spawns a rat wolf every 2 days. The wolf can move to an adjacent tile. So I can go ahead and drop this. I don't know, where do you think we want this? If I put it here, it's going to get doubled 2 rat wolves every day on this, which we probably don't want that right away. I'm going to actually drop that like right here. And then once you like are aware of how cards interact and what cards are in your deck and like how they can affect other things, like I have the blood groves which get placed in your meadows. Like you start seeing like turns and turns ahead, like how you want to place things, and you might have like a general strategy. And I'm already like thinking about this, but like not explaining it, because there are certain cards that I want placed on monster spawners and ones that I don't. And so you kind of want to figure out like how do these fit into your map and how you want these things. I got a meadow here, which we were talking about before. Heals 2 HP at the start of each day. I can drop that here. And when I drop that lateral to another tile, I notice that these become blooming meadows, and then they heal 3 HP at the start of each day. If I put that out here, that wouldn't have happened, and if I put that diagonal, it wouldn't have happened. So there's like these hidden interactions, and you'll see one with the mountains and the rocks here soon too. And they're like, you have to discover them yourself, which is cool, but it's also kind of opaque. Like, it's a little bit of a spoiler burden, but discovering them is fun, and I'm sure they're easy to look up if you want to know what they are, but that's like one of them there. So there's like these cool little hidden like secrets and synergies that you have to like learn. So we got a shield. I can go ahead and equip that. Neither of these weapons are anything new. Let me pause here. We can look at our battlefield. It spawns a chest at the start of each loop. Enemies on adjacent tiles can become ghosts. So the chests were pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this here right after the loop so we can pick up those chests right away. Another mountain. I'm gonna go drop that up here. Nothing new with any of that stuff. So we had to fight 2 slimes there, but we got even more loot. I got armor plus max HP. That went up. Your HP is actually like a percentage, it seems to me, for most cases. So I didn't just gain 94 HP here. It raised my max, and then it raised my current proportionally, is I believe how that functioned. So I get some rock here. Drop that down here. Okay, here's the village. So first they feed you, and then they make you work. So this will give us a quest. I'm really excited to see how this works. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that, like, let's put it on the corner. And we have the cemetery that spawns a skeleton. I'm gonna go and just like put that. This is the thing that doubles, right? I'm gonna go put that right here. So you play your cards as you go along, and then the game plays itself, but the cards give you like plenty to keep track of. So this gives us counter 10%, which is a lot cooler than damage to all to me. Part of my strategy is to minimize like the number of enemies in a fight, because that just means you take more damage like relative to how much you're killing, in my opinion. Again, I'm still a newer player, but I did beat a mission, so I kind of understand the mechanics, but there's probably a lot more depth to it that I may not be aware of, but that's kind of how my my model of the game is. But yeah, I like counter is pretty cool. That means when they attack us, sometimes we counterattack. So in a way, that's like a 10% damage increase. So we hit the camp, which healed us. It is spawning a chest here. We got more mountains. Got more meadows. I'm going to drop it here again. Get another one of those blooming meadows. It's going to heal us 3 HP at the start of each day, and this thing is doubling it. Pretty sweet. And, oh, our healing potion. So that was from the apothecary or whatever we bought. So I can use this to heal us for 4 HP. Or no, is it automatic? Looks like it might be automatic. Very cool. Now, when this stuff fills up, it's going to turn into meta progression resource. The chest is like a fight. Sometimes it's actually a mimic. You'll also notice every time we walk over one of these tiles that we place, a lot of them give us loot. So this is the meta progression base building materials. That chest gave us some cool items. Our first ring here, so now we get magic damage, increased attack speed, and then regen per second. I got better armor. This gives us like twice as much max HP and then more regen per second. I'm gonna put that on. So I've been playing Vampirism build. Vampirism seems very strong. I might try like an evasion regen per second build this time. That could be fun. So I just picked up some resources as we went through there. Then we're fighting the rat wolf that had spawned. I got another meadow, or no, what is this? Oh, this is a grove. I'm gonna put this next to the other grove. No vampire spawned yet. This thing has a crown? Quest goal. Okay. So that's what the quest is from the village. Interesting. Oh, I placed that village super poorly. I placed it right after where we already heal, so it's probably gonna get wasted all the time. So this thing has plus 200% hit points. I wonder if we get like bonus like loot from it or anything. Or if that's just the cost for the healing. Quest done. So yeah, it doesn't look like we got anything extra for that. So that's probably just the penalty, is we have to fight stronger monsters. So like I said, this meadow didn't turn into a blooming meadow. It's just a regular meadow. The more armor, this goes evasion and attack speed. That 6% evasion seems pretty big. I'm not really too concerned about our max hit points. So I don't mind going down on that to get evasion. Got another meadow. I'm out of places next. Actually, no, this will fit there as well. So the loop starts to become like alive as you populate it. The day's progressing, monsters are spawning. It's like too much to keep track of in your head, like the complexity, like once it like really grows. And it just kind of feels like its own thriving, living thing as it continues. Okay, so this beacon is kind of interesting. So this gives you plus 40% movement speed, but then plus 20% attack speed for enemy, or it's all units. I guess that applies for us, but also applies to the enemy. How I've been using this is putting on tiles where I don't have monsters. And actually, it can go like outside here, but I don't think that like really does anything. But if you put it here, then you move here 40% faster. So that gives you faster loop progression relative to the day, which means like you fight less enemies per loop, and then you get like more of these like rewards for like the loops and stuff. So that seemed like a cool use to me. I'm gonna like drop that right there. But if you put that next to like these enemies, then you're gonna have to like fight tougher enemies. I guess I'm gonna place these like here, because they become blooming when we have them like next to something. Oh, by the way, you can leave at any time. You just keep what you have by retreating. And if you retreat when you're on the base, then you leave with 100% of your goods. If you leave anywhere else, then you leave with like 60%. So it's like a penalty for like leaving out elsewhere. Attack speed and counter. 13% counter seems pretty sweet. This regen seems to be doing pretty good. Oh, this is a much better weapon too. Let's take the counter. That weapon did like a heck of a lot more damage and it gave us evasion. We just lost counter from the sword that we swapped out, but I got some from the ring. Okay, so we got another one of these crystals. I'm gonna drop that somewhere. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that this circle is like the rarity. Because we're getting a lot of these things that are like low circles. Okay, another chrono thing. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did over here. I'm gonna drop that like right here. Do it like this. Oh, I have like a way better shield as well. Again, I don't really care about the max HP from this armor, even though it's like 4 times as much. I'd rather have the evasion and attack speed, I think. Mostly that evasion looks good to me. Yeah, we're wrecking stuff with this sword now. Oh, look at that slime. Gives us all kinds of things. Here's our cemetery. I'm gonna try and drop stuff. Oh, this is only 30 HP. That's actually like not much at all. Does this get better? I hope that gets better. That's like a percentage. So we have another cemetery. Our first cemetery hasn't even like been spawning that much. I'm gonna put something like before the village, so we have something to sap our hit points, so I can actually restore them. Drop that stuff. Alright, one more cemetery. Let's drop another one of these beacons. So now I move 40% faster through 6 of these tiles here. I don't think I like the village. I don't know, maybe we'll place one somewhere. Now this gives 35 hit points, so it does go up. Okay, maybe that is good. Alright, so this is our chest that we get from the battlefield every loot. 14 defense and 2 magic damage. I think that regen's better. Damage per all doesn't seem like a great stat since I'm actually trying to like minimize the amount of enemies I'm fighting per loop. Like this has 3 guys, which is going to be a lot. If you got like a lot of damage per all, like I bet you it actually is pretty strong. But all the numbers are pretty low until I got like high level. So we have the road lantern here. A small spot of light in this grim world decreases the maximum number of monsters on adjacent tiles. The effect of lanterns can stack. So this seems nice to place somewhere so they can't have like too many guys spawning on something. I like that. Alright, let's drop some of this other stuff. Keep placing these meadows next to our Chrono Crystals. And then, why not? We'll try another village. I'll drop it like over here somewhere. Put it over here, like in between like the gauntlets here. So you see as items get pushed out, we get resources up here. You'll notice the day like progresses during combat as well. See, we take a lot of damage from these fights that have more than one enemy. That's why I've been trying to avoid them. So that tower will help with that. 482 hit points. I still don't want it though. Actually, I haven't seen one vampirism item yet. Maybe I should have taken the swamp. This is the quest boss. We're probably taking like more health in these fights than that actually gives us. The village gives us. Huh, I wonder if that is giving us better loot. That's a lot of extra damage. Do I give up the evasion for that? I think I will. That was a lot of extra damage. Alright, let me pause here so I can play some of these cards. Here's a lot of hit points and more evasion. Looks like a great upgrade. I'm gonna keep putting these meadows next to the Chrono Crystals. I got another Chrono Crystal. So we can like keep playing to that end if we want. I'm looking for the situations where I can play 4 cards on it. Or 4 meadows next to it. I might be out of those. Oh, this one's next to a meadow already. Let's do that. More mountains, more rocks. Oh, and these things give you like extra hit points for having adjacent, which is good. Adjacent mountains and rocks. So there's like a synergy there. There's a really exciting synergy when you place a lot of these, though, that we'll get to soon. So you're just progressing your loop. Things are getting more hectic, more enemies are spawning. You're getting more loot from more enemies. We're blazing past this corner, I like that. Uh-oh, we have a or a quest skeleton over there. That guy's gonna be tough. Okay, here's a blood grove. So you place this near a forest adjacent to the road, which the forest is actually the groves. Its roots devour enemies that have less than 15 hit points left. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I noticed it also spawns like some other enemy that was like pretty strong. If you read it, it says... I have to wait till after this. Oh, we got a mimic this time. Ouch, the mimic hurts. So there's like all these like little secrets, like, okay, every once in a while this can become a mimic. In this blood grove, so it says, may spawn something dreadful from their remains, because it preys on the wounded. So I don't know if that's just like random, or if it takes enough corpses it spawns something else. But it makes like a stronger monster that was actually like a boon for me in my game before, because it gave us like better loot. I don't know if it makes sense to put like 2 of these or not. I'll hold on to it. If you get enough cards, kind of like have you run out of items, they recycle into meta progression, like base building stuff. Cards do the same. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think if you get 10 rations, it turns into a food supply, and 10 stable branches, it turns into a stable wood. So these things like upgrade. I think that's how it works at least. Same thing with this. Let's see, we got another ring. So this one gives 13% vampirism. That's got to be better than counter, right? Although we have a big axe, maybe we want the counter. Let's go with the counter for now. I'm gonna hold on to that blood groove, and I'm gonna place a mountain. So here's the king skeleton. I am concerned about this guy. Maybe it's not that bad. It's plus 200% hit points, so basically it's like just 3 times as long of a fight. Because it doesn't say he does more damage or anything. Oh nice, and he was on the blood grove thing. Dude, he dropped good loot. Maybe the quest guys do have good loot. So this does more damage than the axe I had. It gives us 11% counter and regen per second. What a find. And maybe with that, I consider the vampirism. What's my regen per second stat down here? 3? Maybe we can just lean into the regen. Though vampirism with a big weapon sounds pretty good. We just give up some counter? I am game for that. More groves? You want to keep placing the groves? So you'll notice we can like screw ourselves by placing like too much stuff, like more than we can fight, and then we'll kill ourselves. So that's like the interesting part, is like this is kind of like a turret defense game in a way, but like you're placing things against yourself. And if you make things too hard, you're going to lose. But if you make things too easy, then you're not going to scale up enough. So there's a cool balance in that. And what is this? Oh, the hero traits menu. So this is that thing I unlocked from the gymnasium. So we get to choose a new trait. I haven't seen this before. So battering ram. The hero rushes into battle head on, and his first attack has a 75% chance to stun each enemy for 1 second. Card sharp. 10% chance to keep the card after placing its tile. Interesting. Buckler. Every counterattack restores 3 times loop hit points. I wonder what our loop number is, if that's listed anywhere. 3 times loop hit points. Oh, round 5? Maybe that's it. That sounds kind of good. Let's take the buckler. And now we want counterattack again. What are we at? We're only at 11? Let's see if we can play into that. We got a grove. Let's I kind of want to place another one of these things down here. Let's take the grove like over here, I guess. We have quite a gauntlet here. Look, the village spawns something. Curious what that is. And I guess I'll put a blood grove next to the... Wait, this one's already hitting all those tiles. I guess I can put the blood grove here. Oh, did the guy in the village give me an item? Check out this shield. Counter and vampirism? That sounds like a home run for us. We're up to 20% counter, and we get health back every time we counter. I think getting the sustain while you're going through these loops is like really clutch, and that's what vampirism and health back does. Gladius. Wow, a nice damage increase, but we lose the counter and the regen. I don't know if that's worth it. Damn, it's a good increase though. What do I get else? A ring? 11 damage to all? Ooh. That is intriguing. We'll keep our eye on that. Alright, let's keep going. Like, I might slap that on if it looks like we're gonna fight something with a lot of health. Okay, so this card is Oblivion. So it says it erases any established tiles and erases monsters from the road. So I can do that to like undo things that I've done if I want to rebuild something, or if I feel like I made a mistake. You can also do it to like just purge enemies from tiles, which is cool. These are actually good to save. So a little spoiler here for the boss. When the boss spawns, they spawn some tiles next to them, and then they get buffed for every tile. So these are actually pretty great to save to weaken the boss. So I'm gonna try and do that if I can. But if we get into some trouble, like I could do this to like destroy the slime or like to undo like one of these tiles if I regret something I did. Okay, so here's another thing that happens. Goblin Camp. This spawns, appears for every 10 mountain/rock tiles. So this just spawned like naturally, and it's spawning goblins over here. So that's interesting too, because we can't control where this comes in. So it can like really screw up our plans. Like if it spawned here, then these goblins would all have like plus 20% attack speed from this. So that's something to be careful with. Okay, we got some other cool stuff here. 7% counter and 16% attack speed, which is pretty cool. Wow, that attack speed is a pretty good increase, ain't it? Is that better than a 9% counter? I think it is. I'm gonna do that. Although counter gives us healing, so maybe that wasn't so cut and dry. So right now I'm getting 12% evasion for my armor and some hit points. So this is just like a pure upgrade. Nice. I'm gonna a 16% attack speed ring. Interesting. Alright, here's another road lantern. Oh my god, I'm gonna put it over here. There's 4 goblins here, so this thing removed a goblin. It reduces the max number of enemies that can be there, so I guess 4 is the max. Alright, let's drop some more rocks. Oh, another one of these beacons. Alright, I'm gonna drop that here. This is like our fast gauntlet. And I got another grove. The groves like aren't too menacing. Oh, I can drop this here on top of the blood grove. Now, this can spawn mimics on there, which can make those fights a lot harder, so I gotta be careful for that. So these goblins have this rage effect, and rages after an ally dies, so plus 30% damage, which is nasty. Another reason not to want to have to fight like large groups of goblins. So our boss meter is filling up a little past 50% there. 9 damage to all. 3 defense. I'm gonna slap on this damage to all. I think it's gonna help with some of these fights. 11 damage to all ain't no joke. Sick. What else do we get here? 8% attack speed, modest damage up, 19% vampirism. Okay, I'll take that over the damage to all. That sounds pretty good. Broken longsword. That's a sweet tile. Here's a huge damage upgrade and regen per second. Man, I don't want to give up our biggest source of counter, but that sounds like too good, especially since we have a good vampirism now. I wonder if we do play into vampirism and attack speed at this point. What was that other big... So we had an attack speed ring. I don't want to give up the 19% attack speed, or vampirism ring. Ooh, 26 defense, but we give up our counter and attack speed. I'm going to keep that attack speed. I don't know exactly how the defense formula works. It's not like a flat number from what I've seen. So those guys hit hard, but they're slow. Okay, so they just spawned a flesh golem. That's what the blood grove does. So a big baddie. I hope I don't attack him first, because otherwise I'm going to have to chew through his health before I attack the other guys. I wonder if it goes from like... So that makes like this fight so much harder, because now I have to deal with him fighting. I wish you could like strategize with who you're attacking more. I don't think you can. Like I probably would have killed that if I had damage for all. Like, I need to play some of these cards. But that flesh golem drops really nice loot. So we have this high level ring here. 9% vampirism, 7% evasion, attack speed. That ring doesn't actually look amazing to me. I'm gonna keep the 19% vampirism. Here's our boss. So of course we're fighting the one that has 3 times the hit points before we kill the one in front. Strategically, it would be much better to kill the other guy first. So yeah, I wish this was the game was a little smarter. 32% attack speed. I have to give up my vampirism for that. And I kind of want the attack speed for the vampirism. Broken, or no, here's a rapier. This has 15% vampirism, and it's almost as good as the item I have now. Let's do that, and maybe I'll take that vampirism and then the attack speed. Is the attack speed really better? It's more damage, and the damage fees are vampirism, why not? Okay, let's place some stuff. Oh, more of these beacons. I'm gonna run out of places like that are safe to like actually put like enemies, or allow enemies to be. Alright, rock. Check that out. If you play a 3x3 tile of rocks, it turns into a mountain peak. Plus 120 hit points, and plus 5 hit points for every adjacent mountain or rock tiles. And then it spawns a harpy every 2 days. So here's like another one of those like hidden mechanics that you don't really know about. Alright, let's place another one of these somewhere. Sure, this looks good. Put more rocks here, get those hit point bonuses. I don't like the village. I'm gonna get rid of the village. I'm taking that out of my deck. I'm not feeling it. %11 vampirism and 10% counter? That feels better than the attack speed to me. Do it. So I get like less resources from recycling items if I'm swapping like my things out so much. So I don't know if I should be thinking more about that. But I'm really not too concerned about it. I'm not into the whole meta progression aspect as much. I like the gameplay. I could do without the meta progression. One big question I have about the meta progression is, so I thought this was like a great challenging game on my second run when I got through here. So I wonder if like how that challenge feels once you get more meta progress, which obviously makes the game easier. More villages, I'll ditch that. But also like the later chapters get harder too, so you kind of have to scale for that. But I wonder if you ever have to like grind or do anything like that, because that's the kind of stuff that I'm not into in games. Grinding, not for me. Another battlefield. Let's drop this before we get another loop in here. These goblins are brutal. Actually, we wrecked those. Never mind. Okay, so that mountain peak just spawned a harpy. Grab the meadow. Another Chrono Crystal. I'll keep like putting them out here. My dude was taking turns attacking those two. 13% vampirism. I'm gonna keep the counter. Get some more rocks. I gotta pause in between like all of these combats to see what our items are on this loop. This one gives us big evasion. We want to play more for counter and vampirism now, though, I think. 36% attack speed again. That's the same ring I had before, but it's like 3 ranks higher. Max hit points. Don't really care about any of that. We got a quest skeleton paired with a normal skeleton on the next map. It seems like we're doing all right. Ooh, I got another trait. Supplies. A hero leaves half of his findings in a camp when passing through a campfire tile. Wonder how that works. Plus 1.5 damage for every potion used. I don't know how the potions get used. We'll see if we can use them actively, because we're supposed to get 2 more every loop. Blade of Dawn. Every morning, the hero's sword is filled with sunlight, causing its next attack to deal ×2 damage to all. That sounds good. Okay, let's take that. Ooh! So that should help with like the multi-tile guys. I like that. Got a big sword here, or a big shield. That shield is way better than our other shield. It's double the defense, more than double. And then the traits aren't as good, but I think it's hard to pass up that defense. I have a feeling it's going to go a long way. We're up to 33% vampirism. Again, you have all your stats over here. Here's about the same damage. This gives us counter, but we lose the 15% vampirism. I think the vampirism's probably better at this point. Otherwise, what do we get when we counter? I think this is the loop counter. So 7 times 5, right? Oh, that's interesting. The day can proc during battle. Here, I need to pause for a second. So 35 healed every time we counter, or 15% every hit. We counter on 10% of our hits. This will bring it up to about 25. So that's on like every hit we end up healing 25% of 35. So like 8 hit points or so. Or we heal 15% of our damage, which is an average of like 35 or something here. I guess the counter is actually like slightly better at the moment. All right, let's go for it. And then that obviously we do more damage overall, which is good. We're gonna upgrade this ring. We're gonna keep the counter. I don't know how good regen per second is, because I don't know like how often that procs, and it's hard to keep track of. So I assume that 11% vampirism is better than the regen per second. Oh, this is a decent upgrade to counter. And this gives magic damage. Oh, let's upgrade it, why not? Alright, looks like I have stuff to place. Another one of these beacons. I don't know if I can place these anymore. I'm gonna start making like enemies too hard. I can place this here. Do that. Chrono Crystals again. I'm gonna keep dropping them out here, I guess. I'm not gonna play that stuff. So this game's getting like super active now. Like tiles are like every tile pretty much is full of enemies. This is a straight upgrade in my opinion. Put that armor on, more evasion and health. Like every tile is just like a new fight, new loot to look at, new cards to place. So like the game like actually picks up in like player activity and like how alert you need to be, and just what you got to do, which is kind of cool. All right, what do we have here? Oh snap! I generated another goblin camp. There's probably reason not to place too many of these, just so I don't have to fight another goblin camp. But again, if we can fight them, and we seem to be doing pretty well so far, then we just get like more experience and more drops. It's hard to argue with. So here's a decent drop in defense, but we gain counter and vampirism. I actually like that. Hold up, this is actually a better shield. It's evasion and vampirism. I'm gonna stick with the counter for now, and this ring gives vampirism, attack speed, and defense. Let's stick to the other ring. Grab some more rocks. I guess placing those gives you resources as well. Look at all these counters. Our counter's up to 35%. My other builds are kind of vampirism focused, so I haven't really seen this much countering. Pretty cool so far. Alright, let's drop some stuff. Why did that flash everything? That was interesting. Do we want another cemetery? Why not? I'm at like almost full health. I guess we can take it. Remember, we got to keep track of our map progress here. We will spawn the boss soon. Getting pretty close to it. Excited to see how we do. 15% vampirism and a decent defense upgrade. Although I think our counter plus vampirism is still probably pretty good. 20% counter ring. 6% counter versus 1.2 regen per second. I don't know if that's better. It probably depends on what you're fighting, since like enemy quantity and attack speed obviously affects the counter. We're up to 41% counter. Like, I think it might just be fun to go all in on this. Another road lantern. So this reduces the number of like enemies that can spawn. So you notice we're fighting less goblins each loop because I placed all these things that increase our movement speed. So there's less time, less days pass each loop, so less enemies can spawn. So I actually don't need this road lantern as bad. Actually, I'm gonna drop it on this tile because there's a lot of guys on there. That removed one of the rat wolves. Do I have any more Chrono Crystals around that I can drop meadows next to? Oh, this bottom row is not available, so this is kind of bad. That's fine. Looks like I'm all filled up. Drop it there, I guess. Keep going. Damn, 3 counters in a row. This counter build's kind of fun. We just won another goblin camp. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, this build is way different than the ones I played before. I'm enjoying this. Another loop, so we get more hit points back for every counterattack. Oh, it's 3 times loop. Oh, I did all my math wrong then. So we're getting 24. Still not bad. And that's per counter. So can I use these? It says charges left. I have to drag it. I think it's automatic. It says heals you for 4 hit points when your life is in danger. Otherwise we use this twice per loop because we regain 2 anyways. Alright, there's a lot of loot here. Let's take a pause. Oh, never mind. We'll pause after this fight. Actually, I guess I can look at this stuff. No. Interesting, but no. No. Okay. Ooh, look at all that. We did take a beating that fight. So what's this armor give us? Vampirism. I think Vampirism synergizes really well with the counters. This has to be better than the evasion at this point, right? What's this armor? This one gives evasion, regen per second, attack speed. I think a lot of our damage is coming from counters. This reduces our counters for a solid amount of damage. Some other nice stats. And this one, lots of regen per second, but then we lose counter and vampirism, which we're getting a lot of value from, so we're not going to mess with that. Okay, we're getting super close to spawning the boss. I don't want to lose these oblivions, which I think this goes away first, so I want to try and... I'm going to lose that oblivion, aren't I? I'll try not to, but if I place too many cards, we're going to spawn the boss. Well, I guess we don't mind spawning the boss. We'll fight them this loop no matter what, I guess. Hopefully I restore hit points at some point. I think I'll drop a grove somewhere. Because we actually heal off of like weaker enemies and weaker fights. Reduce the max number of enemies, that looks good. Oh, I guess stacking villagers at the end will give us hit points. And then it might spawn... Oh, I like that. We'll keep that in our back. Oh, if I place one more thing, we spawn the boss. I wasn't even paying attention. One or two. Which I guess we're committed to spawning the boss, so we're fine with that. Alright, let me pause here for a second. There's a lot going on. Alright, let's get a grove. One more. We're going to spawn the boss. Counter and vampirism. I don't know if the vampirism like outweighs the counter in this instance. We're looking at 20% counter versus 13% counter and 7% vampirism. The counter is like feeder vampirism too, which is interesting. You need like an intense calculator to like figure out some of the like what is statistically better in a lot of these cases. There's definitely like a lot of number swapping going on, and sometimes like you lose like a stat you want from one item to upgrade that item to something that has another stat and a huge number, and then you want to swap out another item that you don't need the stat of anymore because you just gained from the first item, but to replace whatever you lost from the other one, if that makes sense. What do we have here? Okay. Nothing we care about, alright. Keep moving. Oh, we spawned a flesh golem over here. I like how this is living in a plant and a flesh golem. I think when I was actually streaming this game on Discord, and when I was checking out the demo the other day, and a few people are in there, I think Jay's called it impossible meat golem, which I thought was pretty funny. What do we have here? Attack speed and evasion to give up our counter. Big damage boost. That actually looks pretty good. That's like 7 and 11 extra damage on the lower and upper bounds, so like 9 average damage. The counter heals us though. I think the counter is kind of important. We're gonna try and stick to high counter. 11 damage to all is intriguing, but we're gearing up to fight the boss. We have to give up our vampirism for that. That would help a lot for a lot of these fights coming up, but I don't think I'm gonna do it because I want to get the vampirism for the boss, I think. And actually, think of the boss, the way the boss is set up, evasion was like a really critical stat, so maybe I should start paying attention to stuff with evasion. It has 9%. Like, we're gonna have to like, you're gonna see why. I won't go into it now, but evasion was pretty good against the boss. This is 11% counter and 13% vampirism. I didn't see that one yet. So this sword's actually probably gonna be really good for the boss. So I don't think our counter healing is gonna help for the boss. We're actually getting wrecked. Do we even want to spawn the boss here? I mean, it's not like we have much of a choice. We get wrecked always at... Oh shoot, I need to spend something. Hold up. Alright. So we're gonna spawn the boss right now. So we do get wrecked when we play through this stuff, but... we tend to heal on the back end, so I think we'll be alright. We just fought like all the hardest things. I'm gonna drop the road lantern here. Knock down this cemetery and this goblin camp, because that was looking a little frightening. 3 oblivions, sweet. Let's drop... Do I have time crystals still? No, so we're just gonna put these meadows. Boss time! Incursion. Radiates with powerful energy that devours space and time itself. It's time to face the destiny of this world. So, it spawned a bunch of tiles outside of it. Lich's Palace. It was here that the sorcerer Omicron conducted his futile experiments on an attempt to stop the heat death of the universe. That's interesting lore. I didn't catch that before. Every palace increases Lich's HP and damage by 5%. And what's interesting is these didn't spawn on the Grove. Oh, those are off the map. That's, well, this spawned off the map. So I could have blocked the Lich's Palace. I didn't realize that. That's important to surround your base, I guess. Cool. So I'm actually going to line villages up right before the boss so we gain health. Drop a meadow somewhere. Rock for some hit points. I don't think we want to place a cemetery. Plus 25% counter. Nice ring. We're up to 46%. This armor gives us hit points. We lose vampirism, gain attack speed and minor regen. Not feeling it. Alright, what do we get from that chest here? 19% evasion shield. I think we're going to end up putting that up on for the boss. Gotta make sure we don't accidentally mulch it. We're about to mulch this armor. It has 9% evasion. Do I give up vampirism for that right now? I don't think I should. The vampirism is what's gonna regain our health before we get to the boss. Here's a 17% evasion ring, but I think we want our counter more. The spear gives attack speed and counter. It's the same counter, slightly worse damage, like 1 point, but attack speed, I think that's good. Oh, I didn't even look at this. This is like huge counter. Did I have another sword we were looking at? I'll take the 21% counter over that attack speed. Oh, what was that? Oh, that was my sun attack. It is unfortunate when that gets wasted on a slime, but overall I think that's been pretty solid. So the traits are pretty cool, I like that. Alright, let's see if we can heal up in these fights. Another village. Look at this line of villages. We're making an urban city. Oh no, a goblin quest? I don't like the looks of that. Can I put the blood grove there? It's gonna kill those guys sooner. That's gonna help a lot. Another beacon. I think we're out of that being helpful. Fat damage axe. Dude, look at these counters. Oh, we're healing so much. off of these counters. Awesome. Incredible. I'm almost at full health again. You see how much stuff just spawned on the map on the new day? It's wild. More time crystals. I don't know. I don't really have anywhere to put that. Because it helps up there slightly. I hope the Lich can't, or the boss can't become a quest goal. That would suck, wouldn't it? 19% vampirism. I think we want our counter more, though. I forget if the boss attacks quickly. 6 regen per second? Wow. Again, I don't know how that stacks up with anything else, but that's a lot of regen. Look at all those quests we just got. Oh, okay, so let's Oblivion all these Lich Palaces. So we just, like, reduced how strong the Lich is. Each one of those increases their hit points and damage by 5%. That's gonna help a lot. We're about to fight the boss. So I was looking at an evasion. Oh, did it get recycled already? It might have. 9% evasion. It did. Okay, no, it was this thing. So we'd be giving up 8% counter and 11% vampirism for 19% evasion. I'm gonna take that. Sounds like a good balance. Countering and evasion combines pretty well, actually. Alright, boss time. Oh, this is the first time you guys got to see the character portraits and stuff. A lot of them are pretty... I like them a lot. These two in particular aren't super interesting, but some of them like are very like interesting stylistically, for like the monsters they portray. How is it possible? That's right, you hadn't... Wait, this conversation, I remember it. I've already killed you. What the hell is happening here? This is the second time I've fought this boss. Killed? Me? It's... I see. So that's how it is. I'm just his afterimage, not the original. You have no idea what you've done. And how many times will I have to do this world a favor by slicing you in half? I don't think you're able to comprehend this. I'm a part of a self-defense mechanism. A multitude of copies sent to different realities at the moment of death. My destruction cannot be fixed, but in an endless series of attempts, different outcomes are possible. I defeated you once and I can do it again. Okay. So the big bad Lich. 1,255 hit points, 182 damage. That's where the invasion comes into play. 36... or attacks about 3 times per second. Undead Cosmic Mage has a soul. Researcher. Health and damage are increased by 5% for every Lich's palace at the start of the battle. So good thing we knocked those down. But it has 3 remaining, so it's got a 15% bonus for that. And it does magic damage. Okay, this fight's going to be freaking terrifying. Let's see if we can survive or not. I wonder if I need more evasion. I don't feel like I'm winning right now. This has evasion and vampirism. And this has evasion. I don't want to give it a 25% counter. That's pretty good for us. So this would give us another 11% evasion at the cost of... Oh my god, that's 21% counter? Nah, screw it. We're going all in on this build. We're getting wrecked though. Oh, potions coming in? Now we're gonna die. 200 damage. Wow, he hits hard. Oh, clutch evade! Man, that was close. That came down to the wire. I bet you if I did swap out that evasion, it might have been enough. That counter strat wasn't enough healing. It was fun to play around. I liked how strong it was against all the other enemies and how quickly it healed us. It is kind of unfortunate that the strategy for the Lich is like completely different than what you want for everything else, and that's weird when you have like this rotating inventory of things that like you have to like you can just get extremely screwed or like helped with RNG by having a good slate of Lich killing items in your inventory at the time that you have to fight him. But you want like sustain for like the loop, and then for the boss you want like evasion and like damage to end the fight quickly. So we did lose there. Wow, you only get to keep 30%, so I guess you don't want to fight them if you don't think you can win. Dang it, that's kind of unfortunate. Like, after all that, it kind of feels like we didn't really get much out of it. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it does give you the opportunity to, like, leave or, like, with all your stuff, like, before you fight them. And I was playing through that, like, really quickly and not pausing as much so we can, like, get through stuff. So we weren't, like, super optimized, but, yeah, I don't know. We almost got the Lich, but it does kind of feel bad to leave with only 30% of your items. Like, that's all we benefited from that was 30% of items. Weird time sink there. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm alive, but how? Thanks to us. A small group of us dragged you here. It wasn't easy. Oh, it was my first time dying. How could you fight off all these monsters? They nearly killed me. That's also interesting. Many of them vanished just before our eyes. Some we managed to avoid, but I think that most of them were gone even before we left the camp. I think your trips are deeply connected with your memories, my friend. Everything falls apart as soon as you're unconscious. So yeah, that's Loop Hero, and then you can take our resources and go ahead and build more stuff. Looks like I can afford the smithy now, which you start an expedition with basic warrior's gear, unlocks the ability to craft tools for the camp if the supply depot is built. I don't know if the placement of any of this matters, so I'm just going to drop that somewhere, but that's how crafting works. You get a character. Dude, check this guy out. He's got like a a pipe sticking out of his face like 3 feet, and then like this sweet beard. This is kind of like the stylistic character portraits I was talking about before. By the Anvil of the Seven Seas, it's a small forge. Yo ho ho, you have no idea how I've missed the heat of the furnace and the smell of the metal. We'll have some good tools now, you can be sure of it, lad. You'll even be able to use something during those trips of yours. Quite enthusiastic. Something tells me you're not a stranger to seamanship. Shiver me hammers, how did you know? It doesn't matter though, you're right. Don't worry. I'll prove to you that these hands can hold a hammer as good as they can hold a helm in a storm. And for a dozen days in a row if needed. So there's like these camp that aren't really part of your like base, so when you like build something, like people come from these camps, and that's like who populates them. That's how that's played out. And yeah, so the story is based around like memories and like forgetting stuff, and I think the narrative is really interesting and one of the highlights of the game so far. Like I said before, and I think the overall aesthetic is very unique and pretty cool overall. But yeah, that's Loop Hero. I don't know if there's not much else to say about it, but just to recap, it just has a lot of cool systems that interact. We might have, I don't think we unlocked a card with that. But like the deck building aspect of it, like the turret defense, like the loop control, the building and gearing up for things, and like the card placement, which is like really like a board gamey feel. Then like you even have the meta progression here. Just a lot of like interactive systems, and that's kind of what I like in games, is all these interactive systems that have interplay and that add complexity and interesting decision making and strategy. And this game has that. Now I have a feeling that this game doesn't have a ton of replayability for me, but I like it enough that I am going to pick it up myself, and I'm going to play through the story once, is kind of what I plan to do. And, you know, there's enough stuff in the game that, like, went, like, unused, like the enemy, like, types and stuff like that, that maybe that changes. But I think the story and the core gameplay is fun enough that I'm probably going to pick this up and play through it myself. But it doesn't look like something I would sink hundreds of hours into, like a lot of the games that I do play. That's kind of the gist of it. We'll see how that is once I do pick it up. So if you like this and you want to chat about it, let me know. Leave comments below. We're talking about it on Discord, so find us there. Great place for discussion. Thriving community. And who knows, maybe you'll see more videos of this in the future once I learn it more and if I'm enjoying it. But I do have a lot of other stuff I want to do, so I'm probably going to try to hit other games instead of repeating other ones. But I hope this served as a good introduction of the gameplay and mechanics of this game and what you'd expect from it if you picked it up. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching it. And I will catch you guys next time.